we haven't necessarily seen evolutions like that in other power generations. So let's say coal-fired plants, for example.
What do you see from an OECD slash the West, the so-called West? How have energy systems evolved? If you can give us a bit of a history lesson in the last 4 or 5 decades post-World War.
Yeah.
How has the energy systems evolved in your observation?
Yeah, so the nuclear energy systems.
Broad overall. Energy sources and systems overall.
So I would say that there was a lot of money invested in traditional large-scale nuclear power plants post World War II, around the 70s, 80s, up until Chernobyl, where we saw a huge drop-off on nuclear power. Over that time, it was only really a handful of countries that still continued to do nuclear builds, like we saw in France, South Korea. They continued to build reactors through till this day. But what we've seen in the West is that as new nuclear builds start popping up because the demands for higher energy have come through, the industry is getting smarter in how it's employing that technology, and it has learnt lessons from a lot of the accidents and incidents that have occurred in the past. And things like passive safety measures are now mandatory in designs, as well as to be able to ensure you can get licensed reactor site. You need to do that as well. We haven't necessarily seen evolutions like that in other power generations. So let's say coal-fired plants, for example, they've been pretty similar since the dawn of time. They've been the working horse of the energy system all over the world, and still are in a lot of countries.
Yeah.
It is the dominant. We've seen, other traditional energy sources not be challenged and not have to evolve as much, because society hasn't really challenged them to force them to be safer or anything like that, or be able to have less environmental impact, for example. Where we've seen solar and wind increase, the systems have got more efficient, but how they're produced hasn't necessarily. We still get a lot of our solar done offshore in China, same with our wind turbines. There's not a lot of domestic production of that because it's still a really difficult thing to make. It's not as simple as just a few solar cells soldered together on a plank and put it on a roof. Like, there's some complexity to make these efficient. And so I think whilst we're seeing how to generate electricity evolve, and this is me showing my bias, right? I think how we've seen the nuclear industry evolve to make systems more socially viable has been quite significant.